Welcome to the Crest Network. I'm Dick Wagner, and today I want to talk about dealing with a gatekeeper. Whether you're walking in to an office or a business, or whether you are trying to deal with it on the phone, you're going to be, in almost every single case, dealing with a gatekeeper. So today I want to run through about 7 different ways that you can at least help the situation and maybe have better success dealing with gatekeepers. First and foremost, be likable. Sure, everybody thinks they're likable. Every single one of us wants to believe that we're likable. We want to believe that people do indeed like us. So many times, though, we are serious about what we're doing. We're thinking deeply. And when we're real serious and we're thinking deeply, we're not as cheerful. We don't appear to be as outgoing. We're more quiet. We're uh, more much more silent about expressing ourselves, and that often translates into, boy, that person's grumpy or they're not very happy. And I know from firsthand because for many, many years in my adult life, I was really focused and really serious about uh, the issue at hand, and wanted to make sure that I was doing everything perfectly. And I was so consumed by that that it didn't come across as likable. I wasn't particularly cheerful, and I didn't convey an outgoing attitude. And although I was polite, that didn't translate necessarily into likable. And when I finally understood that, you know what, I can't be perfect and that 95% accurate is probably good enough in almost every situation. In fact, I even read where the 2 areas where perfect really counts is in landing an airplane and brain surgery. Otherwise, 95% is probably good enough. Don't talk about yourself when you're in front of clients. Nobody wants to hear it. Nobody cares. It doesn't matter to anybody about all of your issues. And I found this where it says, don't talk about yourself because they're going to do that after you leave anyway. So make sure you leave a lasting impression. This is an interesting one. Most people don't think about it, but use please, please. Use the word please twice. First off, the word please is one of the single most powerful words in the English language. Secondly, I want you to learn how to use it twice. For example, you're calling up somebody and you really want to talk to them. You have a better chance of getting through to them if you say it like this. Number one, you be transparent. Hi, this is Dick Wagner with the Crest Network. Would you please connect me with President Trump, please? Notice I used the word please twice in that sentence. Now, you're all snickering and laughing because you know darn well that Dick Wagner isn't going to be able to call in and ask to speak with President Trump and get him on the phone. That's not happening. But it demonstrates the point that your likelihood of being able to speak with the person you want to talk with on the phone in person is greatly enhanced when you say, please, would you please connect me, please? And that also applies in person. You're at the desk of the hotel and you want to talk to Bob Smith. Hi, I'm Dick Wagner with the Crest Network. Would you please tell Bob Smith that I'd like to speak with him, please? There's some odd trigger that happens when you use the word please twice in the same sentence. It's almost as if they can't possibly be rude and crude to you because you've asked in a nice way and you've said please 2 times. It seems weird. It's a little bit challenging to get in the habit of doing that. But if you get in the habit of doing that every single time, it's my belief that you will increase the likelihood that you'll actually talk with the person far more than 50% of the time. And that's far more than you would otherwise. Being transparent. You know, I have a little asterisk by the first bullet point. Tell the gatekeeper who you are. If you're a salesperson calling on commercial end user business people and you're selling the PREP program, the Priority Response Emergency Plan, you know that I've coached you and trained and taught that when you go in, you don't necessarily tell them exactly who you are. And there's a whole different philosophy and a reasoning for that. The quick example of that is that in most cases, you're going to go in, you're going to talk to the insurance agent or you're going to talk to the plumber and you're going to say, hi, I'm Dick Wagner with XYZ company. The fact is, that's being transparent. That's putting out there exactly who you are and who you represent. When you're calling on a commercial end user, such as a hotel, my recommendation is that you be transparent and tell them your first name, and you be transparent and tell them not XYZ company or ABC company, but you say, hi, I'm Dick with the PREP program, PREP. I'm Dick with the PREP program. To me, that's being transparent, but it's not giving away some information that they will use to prevent you from getting in front of the person you need to be in front of. Secondly, as part of transparency, you need to be very polite. You need to be very respectful. I was with a salesman one time calling on a pretty high-end C-suite level client actually at an insurance carrier's office. And this salesman thought that part of being transparent was including building relationships, and building relationships meant walk around behind the receptionist's desk and look at the things on her desk and then make comments about them. And he did. And he was making comments about the pictures she had on her desk, who happened to be pictures of her children in playing soccer. And he had to get into a whole ordeal about his kids playing soccer. It was very uncomfortable. It was very disrespectful. It was very impolite. And I am not advocating that you do that. There'll be a whole nother segment on the concept of building a relationship. And so stay tuned watching for that. And then after you're gone, first and foremost, you want to make sure that they remember you in a very positive light, that they think well of you, that they run through their mind, well, he was a nice person. They were kind, they were polite. Boy, they seem pretty decent. You want that impression left with the client. And then connect with them in the sense that that gatekeeper, man or woman, without being sexist here, the vast majority of gatekeepers are women, and you need to remember that they are just like you. They might have kids, they might have boyfriends, they might have husbands, they might have issues, they might have worries and concerns. You might have a mother that's not well, they may have a mother that is not well. Their kids might be home from school that day sick with the flu. Remember, they're just like you. So interact with them, connect with them in a way that they understand you and them are simpatico. You're similar. It's very common. The issues that they have are the issues you have. Remember that. That's a perfect way to build the rapport that's necessary with that gatekeeper. It's okay, and often this happens, that you end up knowing the gatekeeper better, more personal, more details about them than you actually know the main boss that you are going in trying to end up speaking with or meeting with. Uh, that's okay. Know their name, ask them questions, show empathy, follow their lead. If they're volunteering to talk about something, go ahead and embrace it and be genuine in the process. And after saying all of that and interacting with that gatekeeper, remembering that they're just like you, please, please, please don't be cheesy. First off, crude or dumb jokes. A joke is always at the expense of somebody. Think about, or some type. Think about the person that comes in and tells a blonde joke, or the person that tells the joke about the rabbi and the minister and the priest. Those are jokes that always step on some ethnicity or gender or some other issue that's just not acceptable. For those of you that know me, I'm not caught up a lot in being quote unquote politically correct, but you have to be extremely respectful and careful when you're interacting with gatekeepers and your clients. So no crude, no dumb jokes, no dumb comments that could upset or offend. And don't use any tricky schemes or be misleading about why you're there. Say who you are. I'm Bob, and I want to talk to the general manager about how we can help your insurance agency when your policyholders have losses. That's straightforward. That's being transparent. And the other thing that goes a long ways is asking for help. Oddly enough, many, many people are willing to help others. It might not be a big thing that they're going to help. It might be as simple as asking for directions or as simple as asking them to pass their Maven article onto the principal agent in the insurance office, or asking to speak with the owner of the plumbing company. When you give an authentic request, and you remember a couple slides back, you say, please, may I speak with Bob, please? Very likely you have a far greater chance of getting in front of them. It's okay to use humor, but not jokes. And I encourage you to Google the difference between humor and jokes, because there is a very specific line of difference. So when you use humor, use it sparingly. Remember what you're doing, who you're calling on, what you're selling or what you're offering isn't a joking manner, but it's okay to soften or break the ice a little bit by using some sparing humor. Remember that a gatekeeper, in addition to putting up the gate, keeping people, annoying, obnoxious, pushy salespeople from getting to their bosses, one of their other roles is to be helpful. And so don't be afraid to ask for help in the right and appropriate manner, using the word please twice in the sentence. I've done a whole segment in the past on the fact that the game has changed in our selling world today. It's kind of like playing golf, but the ball that you're hitting with the golf club is a football. The game has changed. It's different. And it doesn't work well when you're playing the game with the wrong tools or the wrong rules. So how do you change the game in the selling or the marketing process? If you want to meet with somebody, attempt to be there first thing in the morning. Guess who usually gets to the office as one of the very first people? The owner or the principal. So try to get there early. Or if you want to call an agent or a plumber to set up an appointment, call early before the customer, CSR or the gatekeeper is actually sitting at their desk. Or call late, call after 5 o'clock. The gatekeeper's gone home. But that phone is ringing, and it's a very possible that the principal will answer it just because they can't help themselves as one of the owners. So by changing up your game of your marketing strategies, calling early or calling late is one simple way to get in front of people or get to the people you want to talk with. Be sure to leverage social. I am a very big proponent of utilizing LinkedIn as a way to connect with and interact with prospects. LinkedIn is an awesome way. It's a professional and business way to connect, to be seen, to raise your credibility, be perceived as an expert. And with LinkedIn, there's a communication piece. You can send LinkedIn mail direct within LinkedIn, and it works wonderfully. The other way that, and by the way, let me come back to LinkedIn for just a second. You should have hundreds upon hundreds, if not thousands, of LinkedIn connections. I personally have about 3,000 LinkedIn connections, and over the past 10 years, that has been the primary source, that and my Facebook business page and my Twitter account. Those have been the primary sources of my leads and connections and interactions with customers and clients. One of the other things that's not done much today, it kind of fell out of favor because of the advent of first email and then text messaging and other forms of communication in the social world. Take the time. If you visit 5 brand new people or interact with 5 brand new people during the day, at the end of the day or in the evening after the kids go to bed, take the time to send a personal handwritten note. Could be just a simple thank you card that you mail to that person, thanking them for taking time out of their busy day to speak with you for a few minutes. It's powerful, it's valuable, it's noticed. They will remember you, they will appreciate you, they're going to look favorably upon you. Last but not least, this kind of sums it all up. Too many times I have coached salespeople who have said to me, you know, I've been doing this for 30 years. I don't think I can really make those kinds of changes. They don't feel comfortable. That's just not me. Well, you know what? If you don't want to make the change, you don't want to grow. If you don't want to make the change, you're going to stay at the status quo level, and you will eventually be evolve into irrelevancy. You will no longer be on the top of your game. If you want to stay at the top of your game, you have to change, because when you stay the same, it's the equivalent of going backwards. It's like a bunch of old codgers getting around a table and saying, you know what? If we don't change anything, maybe something magical will happen. Well, you know, and I know that that just simply doesn't work. I'm Dick Wagner. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you picked up a gold nugget from these short 7 points on how to interact with the gatekeeper. Talk to you next time. Bye-bye.